Yes, sir.
I'm Joel Rosenberg. I'm a dual U.S. Israeli citizen and an evangelical. And I just wanted to ask you two questions. One, as a Christian, how do you see the 75th anniversary of Israel? Do you see it as prophetic? Do you see it as biblical? Or do you just see it as good, solid Zionism, or both? And secondly, I've had an opportunity to lead two evangelical delegations to Saudi Arabia to meet with Mohammed bin Salman. Just curious if you see a pathway forward for an Israeli-Saudi peace treaty, even with President Biden speaking of it being a pariah state. I wondered if you could comment on that.
Sure. No, I think a great question. So the first question is, yeah, I think it's both. You know, when you come and you've been on delegations, you can sit there and you can study the Bible in America, and it's great and it's inspiring. But when you actually come here, you see what happened there. They can show you. They can show you the artifacts. You can walk in the city of David. If there's something there, they can point out, and it comes to life. And so you see that, and you're like, man. And of course, you show the unmistakable thousands and thousands of years of connection between the Jewish people and the land of Israel. I mean, some of the modern debates acts like somehow that Jews just decided to show up here or something and like claim a state. No, they were exiled. They were dispersed forcibly. But this is where the Jewish people were born as a people thousands of years ago. And so that's really, really significant. And so the 75th is really a reconstitution, recognizes the 75th anniversary of the reconstitution of the Jewish state of Israel. And so I think that that's something that we can be proud of. With respect to Saudi Arabia, I think that this administration has worked overtime to alienate the Saudis. My view would be that there's an opportunity, and I mentioned in the speech, you have a great opportunity to have a U.S.-Israel Arab country alliance vis-a-vis the nefarious influence of the Iranians. And I think that that's something that's doable. But I think that that's something that you got to work for. And absolutely, I think with proper policy and proper relations, you could see Saudi Arabia recognize the existence of Israel. Who would have thought that that would have been anything that anyone could have talked about even 10 years ago? I mentioned in my speech, I was recently in my office in Tallahassee with the ambassador to the United States from Israel, and sitting next to him was the ambassador to the United States from the UAE. That would not have been something that would have been possible even 5 or 6 years ago, and yet there they are. And if you listened, they were basically focusing on how you move forward in a way that is stressing common interest. They understand that there are common threats. They understand there's a lot of opportunities for collaboration with the two countries. That is something that I think represents the path forward here, and I would hope that the administration would try to get. Those Abraham Accords were historic. I think that they were incredibly positive. It gave great momentum to things that are happening in the Middle East, and part of it is because the Trump administration got out of the Iran deal. That sent a great signal to the Sunni Arab states. I also think that moving the embassy helped get us the Abraham Accords, and people say, well, how do you think that? They didn't want the embassy in Jerusalem. They didn't. But I think when America shows strength and resolve, people in this region really respect that, and I think that was part of what happened. So.